Welcome to the Personal Dog Training Calls with Clients podcast, episode 18. My dog has become dog aggressive and I need help. This episode, we have a lady who has a horse property and does a bunch of pet sitting, and her dog has gotten into multiple fights with dogs that she's pet sitting. She's had to break up a number of fights, and now she's needing assistance. I did get to go work with her, and we did have some good success. Stay tuned for updates. Thanks for listening.
And I've also just started trying to do a little bit of agility training with her. And I've got her she sits in the square and she'll jump through the hoop and then jump over the little jump is all we've done. And we do it every other day. So I'm trying to get her, thinking and motivated. But I just, one of the neighbor dogs from the other ranch came over the other day, and if my friend wouldn't have been there, she probably would have went after her. She did the growl and had two dogs that I board. They were here a month, which is quite a long time, but I had two fights.
Okay.
But as I was saying, the little mini Aussie in her, I thought it was maybe just the two of them, because the Aussie would let her alone. She would Molly would try to jump off the bed. She'd be in her face.
Yeah.
She'd follow her everywhere. She'd
That's
have
what caused
to run
it.
up the door.
Yeah, that's what caused it. We'll talk through it, but yeah, that's the big culprit.
So she has been rehomed, and I thought, it was so quiet around here the first week, and I thought, well, I've made the right move. But then I just would really like to get her to a point where I don't have to worry about her attacking another dog. Like if anybody comes to the door, it's like, oh my God.
What do you mean?
And,
Is she okay with people? She like people?
Well, she won't. She doesn't go after any people, but she barks like crazy when they come in the door.
Yeah, territorial. Yeah.
And I think it's probably really protection.
Well, it can become both. We'll talk through that as well. This is not my first rodeo, as they say, and whatever issues I'm starting to write down notes. I'm going to circle back with you and talk through these issues. What you're starting to describe, both of these issues, and maybe even other issues we'll talk about. I have detailed understanding of, because I've been doing this for 15 years, going in the homes, dealing with behavior. I could care. You can do agility on your own time. I'm not interested in agility. I'm interested in the behavior problems and the social development, right?
And this is what this is, I believe.
It is, and that's.
We can walk by. I'm almost got her healing, unless everything's too excited and she doesn't pay attention to me, of course, which is how it goes when she gets too excited. But she can walk by another dog on the road. Well,
because she probably doesn't want to be bothered, and that's again. So the first thing you described was a dog was over touching her and over pressuring her, and she eventually kind of popped. So I have to help you understand, I do detailed socialization of dogs for 15 years in a home environment, and all these dogs that I train come and stay with us for their whole lives. I do boarding as well.
Yes, okay.
So I know dogs that for 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, 3 years, and you have to know which ones don't want to be touched and which ones like to play, and you have to manage the ones that really like to play with each other. You have to manage those ones as well. They can get into over-touching each other. So not understanding some concepts, again, that are not in dog training. How did you hear about me?
You were the last person on the Cave Creek Bulletin Board that popped up. Okay. And I just, I kind of give it to God, go with feelings, and I just felt you.
Yeah, and you'll see that I do. I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't know what, at this point, I don't know what they're all doing, dog training-wise. But we deal with each dog individually in a home environment, in a real-world situation, and we look at the dog as an individual. We help the owners, based on my evaluations and time with the dog and things we teach the dog and how they respond to them, to give real deep insight into what the dog actually needs and what's going on, so we can really help the dog and kind of put all the jargon of so-called dog training kind of on the side for a bit and just learn these concepts that I'm going to start teaching you. Yeah. Your dog is a light touch reader, maybe even body and touch sensitive. And that's really hard for owners to notice. Dogs, a lot of them are born just naturally kind of body and touch sensitive. They may like to snuggle with us, and that's not a death knell or cause them lifetime problems. But if you let them get pressured and pressured, yeah, they can get aggressive because they don't want to be bothered like that. So advocating for those dogs becomes very important, you know. And then yeah, if a dog becomes, sorry, go ahead.
I understand that I mean, like when I have another dog or boarders in here, they do stuff I can't even see. You know what I mean?
Not acceptable. Not acceptable. Yeah, supervision is, you have to teach. You can't.
I don't really mean they're non-super. I mean that they have a look that they give each other, and all of a sudden it's like we're walking on eggshells and watching them side glance at them.
Well, that's a little simplified, overly simplified, and we're going to get into a bit more detail about what's happening.
Okay.
Again. So when a dog, the overall cycle of aggression, so now this comes up quite a bit. The dog could have one bad situation can make a dog aggress on every dog it sees. So a dog, on the extreme end, the dog has it gets jumped. It doesn't even get totally attacked. It's overtouched and kind of flopped around. And now every dog it sees, it just goes, that dog's going to try to flop me around and push me around, so I'm just going to bite it. Every dog. Yeah. But most likely, on the other end of the spectrum, the dog will aggress. No, it had a problem with that particular dog, and will only aggress back at that dog if it's only in the one or couple early situation, right? But if you keep letting dogs bother them, or they start to aggress on dogs that look like that dog, either physically look like it, size, shape, make and model, energy. You know, if they're looking like they want to overtouch, they may just want to attack that for the overtouching energy, excitement energy, and that's really all that's going on. So we got to re-socialize your dog, and yeah. A dog that doesn't like to play as a lighter touch or physical player, of course it's going to be easier to walk past other dogs because your dog doesn't really naturally want to play like that. So
she doesn't play at all.
Yeah, and that's, again, 15 years ago, I was fostering dogs the first 6 months of my career. Fostering them, bringing them on TV. I learned so much early. And so, but I got Peanut. They dropped a 5-week-old dog off at my house that was abandoned. They didn't know where it came from. And they said, you're going to foster this dog. I ended up keeping her. She ended up being a reader dog. These are definitions I've had to make up. Again, you can't click. Luckily, you're smart. You're on the bulletin board and you found me. I'm like a needle in the haystack. But I have the actual information, not the jargon, right? Not the dog training. Peanut was a reader. She didn't want to play physically. I'm anti-dog parks, but I was bringing her in dog parks. It's a long time ago. And she kept running away from any dog that pressured her or tried to diffuse them and get him to leave her. She just wanted to hang out. And that's a personality type that you have to be, as every dog owner in America needs to be aware of. Because if your dog tries to touch a reader, or you have a reader, you have to advocate for that reader dog by making sure you're going to see, if you look at my Instagram, that I have these alumni dogs I'm talking about together, and a couple of them will be playing with each other, maybe 2 or 3, but in the background you see 2 or 3 laying on the ground.
Uh-huh.
So it allows for every dog's different personality type. If they don't want to play, they don't play. And if a dog's bothering them, I'd say, stop, leave them alone. I know every dog's personality.
She doesn't like other people to play too rough either or get too loud. She's like, I don't like that.
Well, she could be a referee dog or be overly sensitive. There could be some other stuff going on, you know.
Okay.
So
all right.
We'll look at her holistically. You know, what's her name again?
Her name is Molly.
Molly, that's okay. And a border collie?
Border collie, and I have another mini Aussie that came with the other that was rehomed with me, and he's a little nutball, but he's not an issue.
Okay, he leaves her alone.
She leaves him alone, and then I have a Maltese Yorkie mix, who's the oldest, and I have had since a puppy.
Okay,
seems to be the most normal of all. But yeah, these 3 are all getting along as of now.
Okay.
I think that the little boy Aussie knows to stay away from her.
And how old's Molly?
I think that she's probably 5. I've had her almost 3 years, and the vet approximated that she was 2 when I got her.
Okay. And she was a rescue?
Yeah, someone found her at the Circle K and brought her to my house. And
okay. And again, she's sweet with people. She just has this problem with dogs. And then, is there any other kind of things that she has going on? Territorial barking?
No, I mean, she territorial barks, but again, I've had a vibrate collar on her, which has really helped her in the backyard situation.
Okay.
She does not chase the horses, and I have donkeys, and she doesn't bother them. When I say get out of the corrals, she gets out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll fine tune your e-collar use as well because you're in a ranch farm situation. It sounds like I'm going up to Rio Verde this afternoon. I have a client that has a horse property up there, and we're raising a puppy. And yeah, you're going to need the vibrate collars are great, but you need the full functionality as well. So I'll show you how to use the e-collar to its maximum ability and minimal ability, if that makes sense. So as light as possible, as least physical as possible, most effective. And I really make sure we teach dogs leash and collar skills before the e-collar. We can teach them basic correction, but I do reserve the vibrate for a come. And a lot of people, again, the novice or they read online, they try to use the vibrate for a correction. It's not recommended, and that's the problem. Is that now you try to figure out what's the right level to use for the so-called shock, and that's where my industry gets it all wrong, and they're overcorrecting. I'll show you very low levels.
But I think I really like how you're speaking. I feel like it is a behavior issue. I mean, comes and stays all well and good, but it's not that she's still so young, and I don't know. I'm like I'm early 70s, so we're gonna probably go old together. But I really need to. I mean, I lose sleep because I've got a dog coming on Tuesday, and
it's like, listen, I encourage you to have borders and do a business and do whatever you need to, but you got to keep the dogs off of this dog right now. Again, I'm having this with a bunch of clients. It's like, I appreciate the ambition to have your dog socialize with other dogs, but I'm telling you, this dog doesn't like other dogs, and the worst thing you can do right now is to keep exposing her to dogs, new dogs that are annoying her, and no. And I'll show you.
I understand, but when you're committed and somebody's going to take a huge trip, I've got to kind of, and I can keep.
No, but you just keep them rotated. I watch a lot of dogs, and I have to deal with ones that are really crazy, and they can't be with the general dogs yet. They just can't. They'll bite them all. So I have to rotate, and it's better for her. Again, no experiences with dogs moving forward until I get to help you reset her. And again, we're going to bring her around the alumni and my dogs and get her good exposure, good experiences, and instead of just experiences that end up going sideways, because like I mentioned, even one bad experience can cause dogs to go sideways. And
Seems like she's gotten worse since the Aussie. They had like three big fights, so I couldn't get them apart.
Oh, that sucks.
I really had PTSD from it, and you get so frightened of it.
Did you get hurt in any way?
One time I did, but it was my hand just got ripped up a little bit. But the skin on my hand is pretty thin too. And my neighbor tried to break him up one time and knows better than to reach for a collar, but he was here and he did get bit too.
It sucks. I got to advise about this, but it does come up. Never get hands-on when they're fighting. Unfortunately, you have to find like an object and smash it between them over and over, like a golf club, an object, like anything, smash between them. And like never get hands on, because everybody gets bit getting hands on. It sucks.
Yeah, they do.
But just in case
I started throwing the towel over.
This is not. It's not a bad idea either. But not to be right or wrong. Just if you ever hear anybody, I always tell people pass some of this information forward for safety reasons, because it happens a lot. You get hands on, they think you're one of the dogs biting them, and even if there's innocent dogs, that's what happens. As you can tell, this lady definitely could use some assistance now that her dog has become so aggressive. Making her aware of the real issues and concerns moving forward is the biggest goal that I have. I did get to go out and work with her a little bit, and I'm glad to say that they're making good progress. Thanks again for listening to the Personal Dog Training Calls with Clients podcast, episode 18, My Dog Has Become Dog Aggressive and I Need Help. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get the latest episodes.